Imagine two people with the same level of talent. One gives up when things get tough, the other keeps going day after day, year after year. Who do you think succeeds? This is the question Angela Duckworth set out to answer. Her groundbreaking research revealed that success isn't about being the smartest, the most gifted, or the luckiest. Instead, it comes down to a single, powerful trait: grit, the blend of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. In this video, we'll explore Duckworth's powerful insights, uncover why grit matters more than talent, and learn how each of us can cultivate it in our own lives. Part 1. What grit is and why it matters. Chapter 1. Showing up. Angela Duckworth begins with the story of cadets at West Point, one of the most selective and prestigious military academies in the world. To get in, students must excel academically, athletically, and show strong leadership potential. Yet, even after years of preparation, 1 in 5 cadets drops out, many during the first 7 weeks of brutal training known as Beast Barracks. The obvious predictors, IQ scores, physical fitness, leadership ratings, didn't explain who stayed and who left. What did? Duckworth's research revealed that grit, the combination of passion and perseverance, was the decisive factor. She then broadened her research to salespeople, students, and elite military units. Time and again, grit emerged as the predictor of success, not talent or intelligence. Her message is clear: simply showing up, enduring, and persisting often matters more than how naturally gifted you are. Chapter 2. Distracted by talent. From childhood, society conditions us to worship talent. We marvel at prodigies, celebrate gifted children, and assume that intelligence or natural ability guarantees success. Duckworth challenges this obsession. As a teacher, she noticed that her most talented math students often underperformed, while others who worked tirelessly outpaced them. Effort mattered more than quick comprehension. To illustrate further, she shares stories of businesses that put brilliance above perseverance, only to fail spectacularly, like Enron, where talent was prized over character and persistence. She cites historical debates, including Darwin's belief that zeal and hard work matter more than intellect. Talent, Duckworth warns, can blind us. When we overvalue it, we ignore the essential role of effort, determination, and resilience. Chapter 3. Effort counts twice. In this chapter, Duckworth introduces one of her most influential ideas: effort amplifies talent. She explains it with a simple equation. Talent times effort equals skill. Skill times effort equals achievement. Talent helps you learn things faster, but effort turns that talent into real, usable skills. Then, more effort transforms those skills into meaningful accomplishments. In other words, effort counts twice. A naturally talented person who doesn't practice won't achieve much, while a less talented person who persists can surpass them. Duckworth shares examples of athletes, musicians, and entrepreneurs who became extraordinary not because they were born gifted, but because they dedicated countless hours to deliberate practice. This chapter dismantles the myth of overnight success and reinforces the value of patience, repetition, and persistence. Chapter 4. How gritty are you? Can we measure grit? Duckworth created the Grit Scale, a questionnaire that assesses passion and perseverance. Through it, she discovered that grit isn't about a burst of intensity, but long-term consistency. Gritty people don't chase every new interest or abandon pursuits when they get hard. They commit to something meaningful and stick with it for years. She illustrates this with stories of journalists, athletes, and business leaders who achieve greatness not by being the most talented at the start, but by being relentless finishers. Grit is about stamina, focus, and the refusal to quit. The Grit Scale reveals that those with high grit scores often outperform peers in challenging environments, whether in schools, jobs, or the military. Chapter 5. Grit Grows. The hopeful message of Duckworth's work is that grit is not fixed. It can be developed. Research shows that grit tends to increase with age and experience. Life's setbacks, rather than breaking us, can strengthen perseverance if we choose to learn from them. Duckworth emphasizes that passion deepens as we invest in our goals, and resilience grows when we keep pushing through failure. She argues that grit is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. We are not locked into our current level of perseverance. With intentional practice and the right mindset, we can all grow grittier over time. Part 2. Growing Grit from the Inside Out. Chapter 6. Interest. Duckworth explains that passion, the heart of grit, often begins with interest. Many people assume passions are discovered in a single life-changing moment, but in reality, they are cultivated gradually. Duckworth emphasizes that gritty individuals don't simply stumble upon their calling. They nurture it over years. For example, world-class athletes, musicians, and scientists rarely knew at the beginning that their pursuit would become their life's work. They explored, tried different things, and slowly found what resonated. She stresses the importance of curiosity, play, and exploration in the early stages of finding an interest. Instead of pressuring ourselves to find our passion instantly, Duckworth encourages us to pay attention to what genuinely excites us, to keep exploring, and to give those sparks of interest time to grow into long-lasting commitments. Chapter 7. Practice. Once you discover your interest, the next ingredient of grit is practice, specifically deliberate practice. Duckworth explains that gritty people practice differently. It's not just repetition. It's purposeful and structured improvement. They identify weaknesses, set small goals, seek feedback, and push themselves just beyond their comfort zone. She draws on research by psychologist Anders Ericsson, who studied expert performers in music, chess, and athletics. Ericsson's work showed that top performers dedicate thousands of hours to deliberate practice, focused, goal-oriented, often difficult, and sometimes frustrating. Duckworth illustrates this with stories of spelling bee champions who study for hours every day and athletes who refine the smallest details of their performance. For gritty individuals, practice is not always enjoyable, but they persist because they see it as a path toward mastery. Duckworth makes it clear, talent sets the stage, but practice is what makes greatness possible. Chapter 8. Purpose. Interest and practice alone aren't enough to sustain grit in the long term. Passion deepens when connected to purpose, the belief that your work matters not just to you, but also to others. Duckworth explains that gritty people often find meaning in their pursuits because they see their goals as part of something larger. She gives examples of teachers who dedicate themselves to their students' futures, doctors who devote their lives to healing, and entrepreneurs who aim to make a difference in society. Having purpose transforms personal goals into missions that inspire persistence through obstacles. She emphasizes that purpose doesn't always arrive fully formed. It often grows over time as people recognize how their work benefits others. For those seeking to build grit, aligning personal interests with a broader sense of contribution is a powerful way to fuel perseverance. Chapter 9. Hope. The final internal element of grit is hope, the conviction that your efforts can improve your future. Without hope, perseverance is impossible. Duckworth emphasizes that gritty individuals believe setbacks are temporary and that improvement is always possible with effort. She connects this to Carol Dweck's concept of a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed, not fixed. People with hope respond to challenges by redoubling their efforts, rather than giving up. Duckworth highlights stories of students from tough backgrounds who, despite repeated failures, kept believing they could succeed and eventually did. Hope is not naive optimism. It's a resilient, action-oriented outlook that says, I can do better next time. Gritty people don't just endure hardship, they actively look for ways to overcome it. This mindset, Duckworth argues, is the psychological foundation that keeps passion and perseverance alive in the face of adversity. Part 3. Growing Grit from the Outside In. Chapter 10. Parenting for Grit. Duckworth explores how grit can be cultivated in children through parenting. She argues that the most effective approach is what she calls wise parenting, a balance between high expectations and unwavering support. Unlike permissive parenting that lets children give up too easily or authoritarian parenting that demands obedience without warmth, wise parents encourage persistence while also providing love and encouragement. They create environments where children are challenged but not overwhelmed, and where effort is praised more than talent. Duckworth shares stories of families that model grit by demonstrating perseverance in their own lives, showing that children often imitate what they see. Importantly, she emphasizes that grit is not about pushing kids relentlessly, but about helping them build confidence and resilience, allowing them to tackle hard things and stick with them. Chapter 11. The Playing Fields of Grit. Beyond the home, extracurricular activities and structured commitments also play a key role in developing grit. Duckworth points to sports, music, debate clubs, and other team or individual activities as powerful training ground for perseverance. The discipline required to attend practices, the resilience built from losing and trying again, and the satisfaction of gradual improvement all contribute to grit. She argues that sticking with an activity for years, rather than quitting at the first sign of boredom or difficulty, teaches children the value of long-term effort. Duckworth highlights how these activities create grit habits, preparing young people to face larger challenges in adulthood. In these playing fields, whether literal or metaphorical, the seeds of passion and perseverance are planted and nurtured. Chapter 12. A Culture of Grit. Duckworth explains that grit thrives not only at the individual or family level, but also within groups and organizations. Culture, she argues, shapes behavior. When you belong to a community where persistence, resilience, and hard work are expected, you're more likely to embody those values yourself. She describes cultures of grit in organizations ranging from schools to companies to military units, where shared values and collective perseverance create an environment that elevates everyone. Leaders play a critical role in fostering this culture by setting standards, modeling perseverance, and reinforcing the importance of long-term commitment. Culture, Duckworth emphasizes, acts like invisible scaffolding that supports and amplifies individual grit. Chapter 13. Conclusion. In her conclusion, Duckworth ties together the central theme of the book, grit. The fusion of passion and perseverance is a more reliable predictor of success than talent alone. She reminds readers that grit is not fixed. It can be nurtured through interest, practice, purpose, hope, supportive parenting, structured activities, and cultural reinforcement. True success is less about quick wins or natural brilliance, and more about showing up consistently, working hard, and staying committed to meaningful goals over years and even decades. Duckworth leaves us with a powerful message. Grit is not only about achieving personal success, but also about living a fulfilling, meaningful life. By cultivating grit, we not only reach our goals, but also build the character to endure, grow, and contribute to something larger than ourselves. Grit is not glamorous. It's not about quick wins or overnight success. It's about sustained effort, day after day, in service of a passion that gives your life direction. And the best news? Grit isn't something you're born with. It's something you can build. As Duckworth reminds us, enthusiasm is common, but endurance is rare. If you want to achieve something great, don't just start strong, finish stronger.